to another video. My name is W Slim and this is my wife, Nolo.
That's not your name.
It is.
That's your stage name.
Same thing.
Dumelang, Bakhaes,
Abshin.
Abshen Minjan, Tamane, Nda. That's what they say, Nda.
I think so.
Yes. And what's good afternoon in Afrikaans?
Goedemiddag. Yes.
Good afternoon.
All of the above. All protocols reserved.
Ndimatekwana. Abuti.
Anyway, today we'll be talking about transitioning into parenthood.
Parenthood. Let's talk about this. Okay, guys. So, how long did we date before we became parents?
7,000 years. I'm playing.
Jesus, please.
20.
We had a baby when?
2020.
So we dated for 3 years and then we had a baby on our 4th year. We got pregnant the 3rd year. We had a baby the 4th year. And now we go into our 5th year.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, I'll speak for me. Nah.
What did you do?
I'll speak for myself.
Oh.
Transitioning to being a parent. Being a mom.
Okay.
Guys, I'm a mother.
A whole mad.
Me. But anyways, yes, it's challenging. It's great, but it's challenging for me. That's how I'll put it.
Why?
I'm responsible for a human being all my life. And you never really understand what they mean when they say you want the best for your child until you actually have a child. Because I used to think our parents are like exaggerating when they say, go to school, I want the best for you. I don't want this, I don't want that. And you're like, can I just live my life? And now that I have a child, you start thinking about these things. I wonder what she's going to be. I wonder what she's going to be interested in. I wonder like where she'll end up in life. And I don't want to be the mom that's going to pressurize my child to be a certain somebody that she has no desire of being, right? Like, you know how with us, when I was growing up, I know I always said I wanted to be a pilot or I wanted to be a doctor, but life happened. So, you know, I ended up somehow being forced to do something I didn't want to do. But because I was also taught to stand my ground, I ended up saying, no, but that's not what I want to do, so I'm not going to do it. And I did what I wanted to do. Hence, where I am today. So I feel like with Chloe, I feel like it's very challenging, man. For me, it's challenging because I don't know if I should say it, but it's challenging because firstly, like, I don't have a lot of people that can help me with her. It's in Joburg, it's just me, my sister, and my aunt. So I know that if my sister is not available and my aunt are not available, who's gonna help?
Okay.
And you don't just trust everyone with your child. That's where the problem is again. Like, I have that thing whereby she's my responsibility, and now if I have to go and drop her with someone that I myself am not used to that person, now I'm dropping my child off there. It's gonna look like I'm irresponsible. As much as they say accept as much help as possible because you're a first time parent, and it's difficult because you also overprotective, because this is your thing. I'm sorry to call it a thing, but this is my thing. It belongs to me. Like, it's mine, and by the grace of God, He decided to give it to me. You understand? So now that I have it, I have to protect it with all that I have. So it's challenging, and also it's straining on our relationship, because in most cases, as much as we don't want, we always want it to be God, and then your partner, and then your children. In most cases, it's always like, okay, yes, it's God, but where it's supposed to be me and my partner, now you find that it's the child before you guys.
Okay.
It's always about what she has. Does she have enough? Are we giving her enough love? Will she be proud of us as she grows? Like, you understand those things. And I feel like also, I feel like I say like, and I feel like I feel like a lot. It's I think they don't tell you what it's like to be a parent until you are actually a parent. And when you are already a parent, no one tells you, you just see for yourself.
True. But you know what parents say? Parents will say, I'll say this in school and I'll translate it. Hola. So in translation, it's basically saying
You'll see as you
you'll
grow.
see as you grow.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So
Because also, sorry to cut you, from my side, ne, I was expecting, I think I was expecting it to be smoother than it actually is.
on my side, I expected it to be worse.
I expected it to be smoother. And now that it's not as smooth as I expected it to be, it's, mentally, you also, sometimes you need a break. You're like, can I just have a break? Can I just have time for myself? Can I just, like, and unfortunately, there's no press button where you say, pause. So now I'm not a mom. Pause, now I'm not a wife. Pause, now I'm back to my duties. It's not like that. It's difficult. But I enjoy it. Like, it's weird that it's difficult and I enjoy it, but
Yeah.
bruh,
Yeah.
it's not pap and flays here.
It's not.
Like, I understand why parents also say don't have kids at a young age, because you will not feel, most of the time you don't get to feel that responsibility.
True.
You also don't get to enjoy your children the way you're supposed to, because then, let's say I had a child maybe when I was in grade 10, right? And then my child would probably be with my grandmother because my mom is late, or they would be at their grandparents, which will be the boyfriend then, or the boyfriend, because I didn't have a husband, so the boyfriend then. So you don't get to experience these things, because in our language we call it bagulsela ngwana. So moment agulsela ngwana, it's not easy, like, for you don't get to feel what it's like to be a parent.
True.
You don't get to experience what it's like to be a parent, because then you can must be there during the day and then leave in the evening to do your own things. And during the week you're going to school, you're coming back, you have to do your homework, you have to do your chores. Someone is taking care of the baby. Whereas now, you wake up, you have to bath her, she has to eat, you have to make sure she's healthy. Oh, it's overwhelming. It truly is.
It is.
But it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you know how I look at her and like, so this is our child. We actually made this child.
Yeah. It takes a while to believe it, but yeah.
So weird.
It is. But I think for me,
Mhm.
I'll go back to before she popped.
Mhm.
Like the preparations and all that stuff. It becomes extremely overwhelming because obviously you know that there's a person coming on. There's a person coming. This person is on the way.
And whether we like it or
And
not, this
whether you
person
like
is
it or
gonna come.
not, you understand? So
Yeah.
you end up having this thing of like, yeah,
I should have.
like I think I understand why parents say that don't have kids at a young age. You end up not you end up not enjoying your youth, if you should call it that. You understand? Because
You end up not doing things that your
That you-
peers are
yeah.
doing. Yeah.
but I think in this day and age that we live in,
It's
you
hard.
find a way up. You find a way to
Yeah.
juggle things. I mean, it doesn't mean that just because now you have a kid, now you need to be tied up in the house and blah blah blah. No, it doesn't mean that at all. Especially if the kid is already older. I mean, if the kid is older, because right now we can say that we limit ourselves to
A
certain
lot.
things because she's still too young.
Yeah. we
But
do.
if she's like 5, 6 years old, then we take her with to whatever we want to do. Like,
But
unless
sometimes,
if it's adult stuff.
yes,
but then-
and sometimes you find that we just want time to ourselves without her there because we need to reconnect and
But then-
rebuild our love.
But you see, at 5 or 6, I feel like it's a bit different because then it's not like they're raising your child. Right now, you give you give Chloe, like let's say we give Chloe now to the grandparents. You feel like you're giving them too much of responsibility because the person is still too young.
Yeah.
You understand? But when they're like 5 or 6, they can bot themselves. They
Yes.
can do things themselves. So right now, you literally do every single thing.
For her, you have to think, is she hungry?
You have to think for her every single
Yeah.
time. You understand? So I think for me, as I say, before she popped, it was overwhelming because now you start thinking of all these costs and not just costs. It's not about
And the
money,
things
but then
that you need to
you need to buy, this and
before
that.
she's there.
And then she pops. That's when you realize that
Kids are expensive.
not just that, she's here now.
Yes.
Yeah. You understand? So now you need to, if I should say, pull up your socks. Because now she's here. And you don't, as you say, there's no pause period, there's no, I'm taking a break.
And you can't
there's no-
afford. I think we also have this thing of, I'm sorry to cut you. We have this thing where we say we can't afford to fail. But I feel that's where the pressure comes from.
That's where the pressure
Because
is, yeah.
we can't be saying we can't afford to fail. We can fail as parents. Like, you can fail at other things. Just don't fail at being a parent, a good parent to your child.
True. Because then I think, like as I say, you once she was here or once she got here, you can't afford to slip up. Because if you slip up, then it's affecting the child.
Yeah.
You understand? If you forget to feed her, it's affecting the child. If you
Yeah.
forget medicine, it's affecting the child. If you forget something, it's gonna affect the child. So that's the only part for me personally that I feel like is overwhelming, because I think for me it's a case of the reason why I say I expected it to be a little harder is I think it's because we've seen like our like relatives and all that. I've seen a relative that struggled because the child was sickly. In a sense, hence I say for me I felt like it was gonna be quite difficult, but then now that I'm here, I feel like I've transitioned a little easier, because then for me it's kind of like, okay, I'm a dad. You
I
understand?
also feel like we kind of had it easy with this one because she's not difficult.
That's what I'm saying. Hence I say,
She wasn't born with a lot of complications. I feel like she was strong already when she came into the world.
exactly.
So, in so many ways where we are panicking, you find that she doesn't even get to experience the things that we think she's going to experience, or the things that we read she's going to experience.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't have panicked. I should have just, but you've already panicked as a parent, because that's like always, it's what we do all the time: panic, 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 panic.
But I
panic.
think for me, I've built this thing in my mind where take it one day at a time, because no 2 days are the same, especially when it comes to Chloe.
Yeah.
No 2 days will ever be the same. Today she'll sleep early, tomorrow she'll be difficult.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I think for me, I just take it a day at a time.
So how is it? How is it for you? How is parenthood for you now? Not even now. How is parenthood for you? Because you've just became a parent when we got pregnant.
Look, it's a whole new responsibility that you've never had.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Is it like paying your car?
No,
Servicing your car?
Nothing like that. It's you
Making sure the rent is paid.
It's nothing like that, bro. This human being depends on you.
Mm-hmm.
Car doesn't depend on you, man.
It does.
It doesn't really. Think about it. If it breaks down, you send it somewhere. Child breaks down, you don't send the child somewhere.
You send it to hospital.
No, by breakdown, I mean, like, let's say, like service. If you need to service the car, you take it to the dealership.
But what a bad example.
No, I'm just saying this because now Chloe needs something. You can't just send her off to somewhere. You need to do it. You understand?
And I think for me as well, what was difficult is that not even it's still difficult now. The fact that I'm trying to raise her in a way that I wasn't raised. I'm trying to correct what I think was wrong from my raising, right? Like the shouting, I don't want to shout. I want to be able to be the parent that speaks to their child instead of like shouting at her. Like when I need to reprimand her, she has to see it from my face that, okay, right now mommy is not happy. Without me having to say, but what you did is wrong. I can sit down and say, sis, what you did is wrong. And so like it's difficult now when I'm trying to put how I grew up and how I'm trying to raise her, or we are trying to raise her rather. And that also requires that I work on myself.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it starts with you.
True, it does, but it's not easy because this is changing a system that I had all my life.
Look, I think it's a case of you want to
be better.
You want to be better than how, not to say that our parents raised us bad,
yes,
but you want to do things a little differently than how they did it.
Definitely.
Like in some cases, I understand that she's still young. And obviously you don't want to shout and none of that. But some cases it just catches you off guard. Like she breaks something. Obviously you will have a raised voice that moment. But then afterwards, like for me,
that was not necessary.
Like for me, I think it was the day she dropped. What did she drop? My controller or my mouse? Something like that, and it broke. Like it shattered into. Like I shouted at first, but then after like a few seconds, you realize that this person doesn't actually understand what they just did.
Yes, and
so
I can replace.
Why should you have like now you need to reprimand her heavily because like she literally doesn't at this age she literally doesn't understand
everything to her is
new.
Because
whether she did it yesterday or not.
Let's talk about how she unpacks the cupboards. To her, it's a game, and to you, it's annoying because I just packed the cupboard yesterday because you unpacked it. Today, you're doing the very same thing. Why are you doing that?
She doesn't understand that she shouldn't do that. That's the thing. But then you're gonna reprimand her heavily because.
And imagine a whole 1-year-old, and you start.
You understand?
Beating that child.
I mean, for me, look, when it comes to beating, I think there's certain things and honestly speaking, there are some days where, like as we say, you don't have a pause button, but there are some days where you're just so tired.
You need a pause button.
You need one, but there isn't one,
Hence,
and you don't
I
want to
always,
find yourself now like taking out your frustrations on the child.
hence I always say to you, I admire women or men who actually do it on their own. Like imagine waking up in the morning, preparing the child for daycare or for the nanny, right? If it's not a stay-in nanny, and then after that, you have to prepare yourself for work.
Hmm.
When you come back from work, you have to attend to this little one until they go to sleep. And you have to attend yourself as well. Do you understand? Like,
Hence, I say it's for me it's a huge responsibility, but you find a way, man. You find a way because there are days like when I'm like like today I'm tired, like
I don't want anything.
But I think that at the end of the day, that's where like the whole transitioning into parenthood thing. That's where if you guys are together and you're staying together, that's where you find a way to help each other. Because if today I feel like I don't want to do anything that has to do with this child, then as a partner you also
Need to
understand that
Yeah.
where this person is coming from. Like let's say you had a bad day at work, whatever the case may be, then you need to be able to help out. Now the issue comes with you find that I am my own person as we are right now, né? You are your own person, but you don't want to compromise.
Yeah.
So it's constant, like not to say anything about certain relationships of men or whatever, but there are certain
It's
men.
constantly
There are certain
the
men
woman.
that want the woman to do everything. Now imagine the woman
She
must
must
do this
cook,
and that
she
and
must
that
be
and that,
there for him.
and then you just sit back and you relax.
Yeah.
That part,
Because they'll tell you I bring the cheese or the bacon.
But that part, that's the part that I just don't understand. Because that's when you find that, that's where you find a lot of fights. Because constantly you just relaxing
And I'm taking in all the pressure in the household.
and then eventually you crack, and then you shout at your partner, and then there's a
In
whole
front of
fight,
the
and
children.
then you understand it's a whole mess. Rather, I feel like helping each other helps. Like it helps a lot.
And also, from my side, I feel like I do not have a lot of support system, if I should put it that way. Like, excuse me, I feel like some things, as much as I can ask like my mother-in-law, I feel like some things would be better if I could discuss them with my mom. Like, hey, this child is doing this, what should I do? Now you have to call other people. Like sometimes I understand family is family, and it depends on the relationship you have with them. So sometimes when I call, I know I can always call my aunt and ask her, like, this is what's happening, what do I do? And she'll give me the greatest advice. Or she'll say, no, I'll ask your grandmother if she doesn't know me. But that void of, if my mother was here, like, if my mother was here, it was going to be easy to ask her, like, so what do I do when this happens? What do I do when that happens, right? And now that's also affecting me because I feel like in my prayers, I always have to remind God, don't take me before my child is like at least 30. So that I know in her 20s I was able, in her teens also I was able to help her through all these things. Because it's not easy. It's not as simple as they make it to, or like you always say, why is it that when you speak about your mom, sometimes you don't cry, but when you speak about your sister, you cry the most? Like, it's not easy to go through your Excuse me. It's not easy to go through your teens alone, if I should put it that way. Because as a girl child, you need to discuss certain things with your mom. Excuse me. And the moment, like, I start imagining these things because I've been through them, right? I know what it's like. So I don't want my child to go through those things. So it's kind of difficult to try and live your own life and also try to be a good person for the child that you're raising, and also try to tackle your own demons. I like to call them demons in your mind, that but you don't know what you're doing. Yes, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying. Like, I feel like we should stop glorifying how parenthood is. It's difficult. It should be said that parenthood is actually difficult. It's not easy. We love these little human beings, but it's difficult.
It is. It is, especially if you have quite a number of voids in your life.
Yes, it's not easy.
So yeah, but I think other than that, being a parent is different. Nice.
Slice is nice.
Food is good. So yeah, I feel like in a way, I'm enjoying being a parent as much as and I also feel like for me personally, it's changed me
to want to do better.
In a certain way. I do things differently now.
That's me. I don't like. I no longer get into petty fights with you. You want to pick a fight? I just look at you like, okay, so I'm not doing this.
For me, I'm at peace with being a parent, really, because I feel like it's something that I've always wanted, and I
you have always wanted to be a parent.
And prior to me being a parent, you'll always have that mentality that it's easy. Then you get it, then you realize, then you get overwhelmed, then you feel like. I think not to say that this is the reason or this is why people run away and whatever. I think certain people, whether it being a man or a woman, you find that they drop their child at an orphanage and they left. Some people feel so overwhelmed that they don't know what to do.
Mentally, it's too much.
And I feel like the only people, not to say that I'm trying to judge anyone or point out anything, but I feel like the only people that are wrong in many ways are those who throw kids away in the bushes and stuff. Rather go drop the child off at an orphanage and leave. If that's how you feel.
People do things at that moment. I think at that moment you are not mentally okay. Your mind is not functioning.
True.
The way by the time it's the same thing as I think it's the same. I think it's the same thing as when someone kills another person by mistake, right? Sometimes people only realize later that I've actually committed a murder.
True, it's got its similarities.
But it's too controversial for us.
It's just that for me personally right now, I feel like I've grown into a certain type of person that anything that has to do with a baby, like if I hear or read something that a baby got killed or a baby got burned or I get pissed because now I'm a parent. For those who aren't parents, we're not saying that they don't get affected by such or they don't understand, but once you've got your own, you
feel the pain.
You feel the pain for the other person. You understand? I think so. For me, it's just that transition. But
it's difficult.
I can write a book.
A book titled "Meeting Chloe."
But yeah, it hasn't been easy, but As I
The
said, take
soldier
it one
on.
day at a time.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
When are we having our second baby?
Disclaimer, not anytime soon. But disclaimer. Chloe's still too young.
No, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Guys, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We do see the views, but we don't see the subscriptions. What's happening? We'll wait for you guys to subscribe
As we wait.
as we wait. Did you subscribe? You did? Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, guys, please engage. Comment. Engaging means commenting. Say something. Don't just watch. Say something. Say hi, and we'll respond and say hello.
I come back. But yeah.
Till we meet again, guys. See you on the next video. Adios. Bye.